record. It's not okay. So I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel after the recording. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go subscribe to Ike Speaks. Click the link because eventually I'm going to be moving from this platform. I'm going to be moving from Facebook. I was recently tapped by some amazing, phenomenal people who are putting together a new app. It's called Greenlight, and it's a more responsible social media app. And they tapped 100 influencers, and I was one of them. And I'm honored to be a part of this new movement. So that's going to be coming out. So I'm going to be transitioning soon. I'll keep you up to date on that. I'm trying to give Royce 5 minutes to get in here. I don't know where he is, but let me make sure he's not telling me he can't get in. He should be able to get in. I sent him the Zoom link. All right. In any event, hopefully he'll pop up. Okay. So a number of you have inboxed me, called me, and asked me to do a live about the events that have transpired in the past few days, both with respect to the woman in the ramble at Central Park, Amy Cooper, in her altercation with the bird watcher Christian Cooper, not related, and the events that took place with George Floyd. Now, let me just tell you guys, I found it difficult to sleep after watching that. I felt incredibly triggered. I was incredibly emotional. I still am. I feel it coming up now. I try to take my time to do this video because I don't mind to, I teach my students that you can argue with emotion, but don't argue emotionally. And so I don't want to come on here and argue emotionally. But all of us are feeling this trauma, and it's revisited upon us regularly with audio and video, and it bombards our spirit and our soul, and it hurts. It hurts so bad to sit there and watch that video. And I know some of you didn't watch it. Some people are now choosing not to watch any of those videos because I understand what they do to you, but I can't look away. I cannot look away. I have to watch it. I have to watch it because I have to know. I have to see. I have to warn. I have to inform. So I don't have the luxury to turn my head from what's happening to us. I don't have that luxury. And you really don't either, but I get it. I get it why you don't want to watch the videos. But for those of you who are not familiar, let's just talk a little bit about George Floyd. George Floyd was 46 years old. Reports are he's a black man. He was 6'4", and at the time of his arrest, there was an allegation that he was involved in some forgery. And there are a number of different accounts, and that's another thing that I try to do is I try to read as many accounts as possible because there are different accounts. And so one of the accounts I read was that it was possibly a forged or a fake $20 bill that he may have passed at a store or something to that effect. In any event, no matter what it was, whether he did it or he did not do it, the penalty was not death. Let me say that again. No matter what he was accused of, and let's be clear about this, it was an accusation. Nothing had been proven. What he was accused of did not, and does not, and will never carry a death sentence. It just doesn't. So you cannot start or stop your analysis, but he was committing a crime. Please, 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 okay? Because every person in this country is entitled to due process, an opportunity to be heard, and an opportunity to defend himself. And he did not get that. He didn't get any of that. Now, the officers involved, there were 4 officers that were involved. The main officer who had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck, that officer has 18 prior complaints to the Internal Affairs Division there, accusing him of excessive force and things of that nature. 18. I don't know what the threshold is at your job, but how many times you think that you could fly in the face of the rules, protocols, and procedures that were set down by your institution or your boss or your company? How many times do you think that you could get away with that? Once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like, seriously? That's insane. The other officer, Officer Tao, I believe is his name, is the Asian officer who was standing guard. He has 5. He has 5 of his own. 5 of his own complaints of excessive force. I believe 2 of which were, well, here, like in New York, what we say are founded, meaning that there was some evidence to support it. Yet these individuals, these police officers, are still free to police. Problem. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. And that's a problem for every police department in this country. Every police department in this country, when it comes to police disciplinary practices, all of it needs to be changed, overruled, and we need new oversight. Period. People keep asking me, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? I don't want to be like one of these people who is like, we can't do shit. We can't do nothing. Fuck you mean, I don't want to do that. I walked around for the past 2 days and I consulted. I'm a spiritualist. I'm consulting. I'm consulting with my spirit guides. I'm consulting with the ancestors. And I'm asking them, what do we do now? What do we do now? And all I hear them saying is, you're trying to get comfortable in a burning building. That's what they say. And so that takes me back to Martin Luther King and the whole push towards integration, and that idea that we fought so hard to be integrated into a burning building. This is where we are. Like, you have to accept that, right? Acceptance and gratitude, I always tell you, those are the fundamentals of life. You have to accept that. That's where we are. We're in a burning building, and some of y'all are just shopping, trying to furnish it and get comfortable, and you wonder why every now and then you get burned. I don't know how many other ways America can tell us we are not wanted, we are not valued. I don't know how many ways before you will say, you know what? Okay. So to that, let me just say, because I had a conversation about reparations, and actually I got some blowback on it because I didn't toe the line. I didn't say reparations, we need reparations, they need to give us some money. Because I don't think that that's the answer. I don't think them spreading around that fiat currency is reparations. I don't think that that gives us truth and reconciliation. I don't think that that heals our heart. I don't think that that quells the intergenerational trauma that I suffer, that is embedded in my DNA. It won't. So my call for reparations to this country is to give us our sovereignty. Simply. We need to establish our own nation. We have the ability. We have the ability. We have the technology. We have the people. We have the smarts. We have the money. We just don't have the unity. We don't have the unity. We don't have the unity. We need everyone to get on board. Everyone. Right? And until we get to that point where we are unified and we have a unified front where we can demand what we deserve, we're not going to get anything, because we keep asking. It's like begging, almost. You beg, can you recognize me? You recognize me? It takes me back to when I was a kid and I used to watch Romper Room, right? Who watched Romper Room? Remember Romper Room? I'm still scarred from this fucking shit. But remember Romper Room? At the end of Romper Room, she would have the looking glass, right? The looking glass. And it would be like a mirror, and she would hold up the mirror and she'd say, all you beautiful girls and boys, and I see Jimmy and Jenny and Jake, and I see Tommy. And every day I sat in front of that TV just wanting her to see me. You don't understand how hard it is. I want white people to know how hard it is. That's why I wanted Royce. So when I start getting emotional, I can tag him in. But I want white people to know how hard it is to move in a world when you're not seen, you're not seen, you're not validated, you're not heard from a child, right? And I never let any of that stop me from what I had destined for myself, right? None of that stopped me from what I had destined for myself. But that same trauma from not being seen as a child follows me to this day. To this day. I've been practicing law for 20 years. And still, oh, that's Royce. Oops. Okay, here I come. And still, and I've told this before, my last trial, just last year, 2019. And I walked up to the federal courthouse, and the marshal there, mind you, you see me now, I got on, watch me work t-shirt type, but when I put it on, right? You're not gonna mistake me for the defendant's girlfriend, even though you always do, right? And I approached the building, and very unceremoniously, the marshal barks at me. Barks. The entrance is around the corner. Because he didn't see me. He didn't see that I could possibly be someone who is supposed to use this entrance, the one that's right here, not around the corner. The entrance right here for attorneys, that entrance. And let me just say, I stood there. I didn't move. When he said it's around the corner, I just stood there. I stood there. And then he said it again, and I stood there again. And then the other officer who was standing with him, I guess he sort of got a clue, like, okay, maybe she, and he came over to me and he was like, can I help you? And I said, we got Royce coming in. And I said, yeah, I actually need some help going into the attorney's door. I needed them to press the handicap fucking button. That's what I needed, because I had a bunch of stuff with me and I only have 2 arms. And when I said that to the other officer, he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. He apologized for his colleague. He apologized for his colleague, but the damage was already done. It was already done. I was already traumatized walking into that building where I then have to stand in front of a federal court judge and defend my client as if I hadn't just been unseen. And to take that into the courtroom with me and hope that this judge would see me, that he wouldn't treat me like the guy who was in front of the building did. So we're always continually struggling to be seen. And I'm telling you, I'm done with that shit. I'm done with it. I'm done asking. I'm done asking y'all for shit, America. I'm done with that. I'm at the point where I'm ready to denounce my citizenship so I can go somewhere else and be seen and be heard. Royce, welcome, hey. Royce. Where you at, brother?
I'm trying to get myself together.
All right, get yourself together. Let me know when you're ready. Let me know when you're ready.
I gotta find my video button.
You turn it into me over there. Listen, the blind can't.
There I go.
Blind. Oh shoot! There you go.
Boom.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Royce Kinnebrew.
Yay! Hey, like the
Royce, tell the people who you are. I don't have
the
audio in front of me. I got your book in front of me. Tell the people who you are.
Oh, I am Royce Kinnebrew. I'm born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Educator, government consultant, author, historian, lover of all people, oppressed all over the world. And I'm just here to be with my sister from another mother, because very soon one of the greatest days of the year is about to occur. And that's our birthday.
Our birthday. That's my birthday twin, y'all. 626, baby. 626,
yes. So You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, sis. I kind of lost track of time because I was, you know, working out a little bit, and then I was listening to the coverage of what's going on in Minneapolis. I was looking at a little Roland Martin, and right now it's just a shook time. You know, it's a difficult time to be a person of color, a black person, black man, black woman in this country, dealing with the pandemic on one hand, and then dealing with this brutality of the culture and of people. The loss of life that it seems like it's nonstop. And so I'm just trying to make it.
No, I'm telling you, I'm on here trying to not cry too much because it's emotional. It's emotional. Oh, I'm an empath. I'm a mom, you know.
Absolutely. One of my professors in college, I got an opportunity to take a class at the law school. Her name was Adrienne Wing, and she taught a class on critical race theory and the law. And she talked about spirit injuries. And you have mentioned, I've heard of you speak of that time before when you were going into the court and, you know, they trying to point you somewhere else.
Right.
And she talked about how those spirit injuries over a course of time, they build up until you are at a breaking point.
Right.
Because you have experienced this all of our life, a spirit injury, some that we are not even conscious of sometimes.
Right.
Right. And so those things build up and you know, it's good and healthy to cry. You know, I listen, if I feel it, I was watching Roland Martin today and he started going down those names of all those people that have been killed by police brutality or some other unrighteous killing of a black person, and it just brought tears to my eyes because he went down like 15 names. I'm like, and those are 15 names that we know.
That we know. Right.
So
that we know.
That's where I'm at, and I'm just trying to keep myself together and keep working on what I'm working on, trying to impact the community, sis.
Right. So maybe you could chime in on this because I was telling the people I got some blowback, and we're going to talk about self-defense and defense of others in a second. But I'm going to lead up to that. Talking about reparations, and I got some blowback about this because the question was, should we petition the government to pay us?
Sure.
And I said no. I said no because one, we don't have any unity, and two, you're just going to give that money right back, right? Because what you're gonna be on the line buying some fucking Jordans, right? What are you gonna do with some reparations money, but go spend it in the corporations that are America? There's nothing in place for us to do anything with any money. What you do with your stimulus check?
Right. Come
on, man. It's not money. Money is not it. We need power. We need sovereignty. Yeah. We need our own laws. That's what we need, and we can't get it. We need to take it.
Right.
We have to take it.
I agree.
It ain't gonna come nice. It ain't gonna come sweet. It ain't gonna come when we just saying, hey, we like to build a new nation. No. It will have to be by force. I'm sorry, the revolution is not going to be televised.
Well, you know, if you look at the comments of Lindsey Graham just about a week or so ago, Lindsey Graham said, we are not going to extend unemployment benefits over our dead body. And he said the reason why we're not going to do that is because a person would rather get that money and not go to work.
Yeah.
And basically what he was saying from South Carolinian planter spirit and blood from Lindsey Graham is saying is we need somebody to work in our plants.
Right.
We need somebody, we need the essential workers
to
go out and keep our society going while we reap the benefits of it.
Yeah. So
basically what he's saying, no, listen, I know that little $600, $700 only equates to about $32,000, $33,000, and the average median income in America is $59,000. So you're about $25,000 under the median family income. I know we're giving you scraps, but that's too much.
I love you, Royce. Drop those figures. That's why we on here, y'all. That's why. But that's precisely right.
He said, and so that you have to understand that opening up the economy and opening up schools has nothing to do with the virus. It has to do if the economy, if you can't open up a school, then we ain't got nowhere to put the workers, the kids, or the workers.
Right.
That's why they want to open up the schools, right? And so he basically saying, we got to get the economy going back, not for them.
Right.
We got to get the economy going back for us.
Exactly.
We losing money out here.
That's right.
And listen, they expendable. We can make some more of them. Right. You know, we ain't concerned about them, you know, but we can't have no more of our companies going under or being hurt. Right. Right. And so that's what we see right now. And you can see it all in the way that the Congress, and they're working from home. A lot of them, you know, a lot of those guys are working from home. Right.
They're non-essential workers. They're not essential. They're not going to expose themselves and their families to viruses. And that is the direct relation, a causal link to why the coronavirus numbers are so high in our communities.
Listen, the black community, Latino community, and listen, the Navajos in down in the Southwest, I mean, make our stuff even look good. Right. I mean, their stuff is crazy. Yeah. Crazy. So people of color are really suffering, and people want to open up the government because they're not really, the economy, because they're not really concerned, because people of color's lives have always been expendable at the behest and for people to be able to generate revenue. That is the founding principle of our country. Exactly. And people don't want to come into, they don't want to recognize that, but it's the truth. You know, it's the truth.
So let me follow up with that. So Royce, if that's the truth, if that is our truth, that this country is built on this compromised foundation, and if we think about it from a construction perspective, if you have a house on a compromised foundation, you got to tear that shit down. Yeah. You got to tear it down, because you got to fix the foundation first and then build the house back up. That had never happened in this country.
Now, here's what South Africa did. South Africa wrote, because that law professor was one of the lawyers that assisted in rewriting South Africa's constitution. After apartheid. Right, after apartheid. And so when you're talking about that type of deconstruction, now here's this is the problem that we got. And I understand where you're coming from. The problem that we have is that the line of delineation between who is them and who is us is blurred up. Blurred, very blurry, ain't it? Yeah. Because some of us, like, oh, I'm a revolutionary until you tell me I got to get out this Benz. That's right. I'm a revolutionary. You mean the revolutionary? The revolution gonna close Saks? Right. They're like, baby. Right. And so in our mindset, we have to then recognize, what can the revolution be that is going to encompass the largest amount of people. Right. That's how you do it. And this is the other way that you do it as well. Now, people are talking about, we're talking about restructuring the foundations. The way that it happened is this. Elected officials know that apathy is so apparent among voters that they don't even vote. And if they do vote, they hardly know who on the ballot. They just marking off D's and R's. That's all they do. Yeah. But here's the thing I want you to recognize. Now, we're talking about that we want certain things from Joe Biden if we're going to give up our vote. And some people say, well, you can't do that beforehand. You have to do that afterhand. Either way, here's how you do it. Elected officials get donations. And the people that donate to their elections are all, especially federal elections, it's all on record. FEC, you can go and look and see who it is that's elected. Yep. Yes, and so what we do, because we know that this works, we know that boycotting people works. We know that if you, in a capitalist society like ours, we know that if you hit somebody in their pocket, they gonna yell. That's like stepping on their toe when you're going through the pews. If you step on that toe, they gonna yell. Right. And so when we elect these people, we say, okay, we can't necessarily do nothing to you right now, but the people that have donated to your campaign, let us start boycotting them. And
Right.
see, those people are the ones that lifted them to office.
Right.
I bet you something changed from that elected official if the people that donated to them,
Right.
their business has been impacted because it works.
Right.
Right?
I agree with you 1,000%. My issue again, though, like you said, is the unity. Is to convince enough of us, wherever that line of demarcation is, right? To participate, because how many times has, every year we get close to Christmas and Black Friday or whatever it is, and we tell people don't participate in that. Don't go spend your money in that. Don't keep your money home. Don't. Yeah. And what do they say? Well, my kid's been waiting for Christmas all year. Y'all know who you are. I've had arguments with people on Facebook, social media, on other various platforms of social media about spending money and showing a united front and making America recognize our buying power, the power of our Black dollars. But we're not willing to do it again. Listen, I'm going to buy my son graduating from Morehouse, and I'm going to buy him a car. I'm getting him a Mercedes Benz. Those people are not going to participate because they're comfortable. They're comfortable. They're not sacrificing their house, their car, much less their life, because that's really what it's going to take. You have to be willing to lay down for this shit.
And we don't have, as of this moment, in my humble opinion, we have a some, but we don't have enough that's willing to go this far. Because if you think about this,
yeah, so let me just turn this down so I can watch the chat. Go ahead.
Yeah, is that the most powerful thing that America does is make other Americans.
Yeah.
America has the power, no matter if you Black, blue, green, white, tall, short, it makes other Americans. If you watch TV long enough, you're going to want a house like you saw on TV.
Of course.
If you watch the movies long enough, you're going to want those things that those movies are highlighting. Mm-hmm. Just like people don't recognize, but The Last Dance, it was about talking about Michael Jordan. But did you notice during the time of The Last Dance that some new Jordans came out?
Right. Did you see the people lined up? Did you see the people lined up in the midst of a pandemic?
See, The Last Dance came out during the time when some Jordans came out.
Right.
Because it wanted to say to people, oh, we talk about Michael Jordan and we also talk about his shoes. And if you looked at The Last Dance, they even talked about him talking about his shoes. So what did that infill people with? The desire to go out and get me some. I found myself wanting to go out and get some Jordans. I said, no! What's wrong with you, dog? I had to stop myself from going out and get some Jordans.
Don't let me catch you on one of them lines. I'm not playing. No.
That's the power of America, is making Americans and making us materialistic. And it is hard to.
That's the programming, though.
Yeah, it's hard to take shackles off of people that don't want them off.
Right.
Harriet Tubman said, I freed a whole lot of slaves, but I would have freed a whole lot more if they had known they were slaves.
That's right. That's right.
And so until we are we have enough influence to deconstruct that materialism that has grasped us,
right,
the revolution gonna be difficult.
Exactly. If reparations comes in the form of money, we move nowhere. That does nothing for us. Nothing for us. All right, so let's get back to the brother George Floyd. Of course, we send all of our deepest condolences to his family, and we pray that the ancestors wrapped him up, and his transition was marvelous. I want to just talk about a couple of things that have come out. The state attorney for Hennepin County, that is the county in Minneapolis, that is prosecuting this case. The state attorney, he did a press conference today. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, Royce. Mike Freeman. There's also an article I posted, and I you know what? I know people don't read, so I try to take out the best parts of the article and put it at the top, because you're not clicking on the article. Like, a quarter of you actually read the article. The rest of y'all just read the damn title. So I try to take out what I think is the most salient part. And the most salient part was this person saying what a tragedy this was and how justice will be served, but how they would not be forced to make an arrest, and that there is other evidence that does not support a criminal charge. Other evidence that does not support a criminal charge. Now, before we talk about that, the Washington Post had a video that preceded the death of George, right? Did you catch that? Where there were two other police officers, bite my tongue, bite my lip. Two other police officers who had taken Mr. Floyd out of his vehicle, handcuffed him, set him up against the wall, and had him like sort of slide down the wall and sit there. And he sat there for a while. The video is pretty lengthy. While another police officer questioned some other people who were in the car, and he wasn't combative. There was no audio, right? But physically, he didn't seem combative. He didn't seem like he was resisting. He was bigger than those cops. He could have. He walked with them from one place up the block to another police car. So where was the resisting, right? So I don't know what other evidence he's referring to, but I damn sure would like to see it, because that's not how it works in my reality. And so for those of you who don't know me, I'm a criminal defense attorney. And I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm also a former prosecutor. And never in the history of time that I've been in the criminal justice system, and before I was a lawyer, I was an investigator for the public defender. So I've been doing this a long time. Never have I ever in my long-legged life seen these people say to a black person, we're not going to arrest you right now. We're just going to investigate. And we'll let you know how that goes. That's bullshit. That's not how they do it here. Here or anywhere else, they arrest you first. The accusation alone is enough to arrest you. They parade you before a judge, and then they ask for some ridiculous bail that they know you can't make, right? So they either ask for a really high bail, or they ask that you be remanded so you don't even have any recourse, while they then decide to investigate. But you're in jail because, you know what? The argument there is you might be a danger to the community, right? So we got to get you off the street while we investigate the allegation. I don't know if you really did it or not, but in the meantime, since we can't be sure, why are the white men in this country getting a different treatment? We saw it with the Ahmaud Arbery case. 3 months, these murderers were free. 3 months. And now we got another murderer free, just free. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I'm having trouble with that. So the National Guard has now been activated in Minnesota to respond to the protesting. And guess what? I'm not ever, never going to tell people not to protest. Burn that motherfucker down. That's how I feel about it. I'm sorry. I'm not people are frustrated and angry. And if this is the best way that they know how to demonstrate their frustration and anger, and that's the only power that you have given them, then so be it. Then so be it. That's what you deal with. That's what you have festered. Chickens are coming home to roost. I'm sorry. I'm not here to tell people to calm down. People are dying. This is life or death, right? So I'm not going to tell nobody not to. I don't give. I'm so tired of talking. I'm so tired of talking. So now I want to turn to this, because I know everybody. Somebody put on my post and asked if can I defend myself, or can I defend someone else if I'm watching that, right? Because if you saw the video, it's 8 to 10 minutes long, and there are a number of bystanders who are just yelling at this cop. And I think that's part of why he didn't move, right? If we talk about the psychology of white supremacy, you got a black guy yelling at you, get off of him, get off of him. And just to show your defiance and to Supreme Court Judge Cheney, to reiterate that no white man has to ever respect any of the rights of a black man. I'm not doing shit. I'm gonna stay right here, and you can't do anything about it. And then,
wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, part of me thinks that maybe if no one was telling him what to do, you know, those kind of people who won't do
Yeah.
shit simply because somebody told them to, even though they know it's the right thing to do.
Right.
That's the type of dick ass cop he looks like. Like, I'm not
Right.
doing shit. You want me to get off his neck? I'm gonna go a little harder. The more you tell me to get off his neck, the more I'm gonna
Right.
put my body weight a little more
Right.
on this
Right.
front. So let's talk about self-defense and defense of others. Under common law, right? And you all know, I've told you many times, we have 51 jurisdictions in this country because every state is a sovereign and the federal government is a sovereign as well, right? But there is common law, and then there's statutory law. So you got to check what the law is in your state. But just about every state has a self-defense provision. That self-defense provision usually extends to third persons, right? But be clear about this. Be very, very clear, because it's very subjective. When you are exercising your right to defend yourself, right? You cannot be the aggressor, right? Remember, we talked about with Amar, you can't be the aggressor in a self-defense situation, and you can only use reasonable force, right? That meets the force that's being used against you. You cannot shoot somebody because they're threatening you or yelling at you. That's not reasonable force, right? Now, when it comes to defense of a third person, it's called, you have to think of it like an alter ego. You are only allowed to defend that person in the same capacity that they would be allowed to defend themselves, okay? So start there. You can only defend that person to the extent that they would be allowed to defend themselves. Now, it's very subjective, because if you're wrong, you could go to jail. You could be charged with a crime, assault, whatever may have you. Maybe you killed somebody, murder, right? And it might not be that you were right about that defending other people thing, okay? So there is the law that allows us to step in and defend another person, especially if we think that they are in fear of imminent death. Imminent death. And I was waiting for someone to tackle that cop. I was like, why isn't somebody running over there? Just tackle him. If they could just get him off the neck, right? At that moment, then at least he'd be alive, and then it'll be a distraction. I don't, I'm thinking all different kinds of things, like, but people are afraid.
That's what it was.
We have to get to the point where we are so unified, right? And that police officers know that if you touch one of us, you touch all of us. We have to get there. We have to get to that point where cops understand that if you are doing this in front of us to one of us, we're going to get that ass. That's what needs to happen. And from what I'm told, it's happening in a couple places. I got a call today that's, I'm not sure, I forget where it was. And then this is why the beauty of the chat, because there are people in here who probably can tell me where this happened. But the police were beating up someone, and a bunch of people jumped in. Put a stop to that. Okay.
Wow.
Jumped in. And until we get that, until we can stop being bystanders, and the police know that there's going to be some consequences and repercussions for their actions, this is going to keep happening. And when I say consequences and repercussions, I'm not talking about them getting arrested and charged, because they're not afraid of that. That's not a consequence or repercussion or deterrence or anything. That's not going to stop them. That's not. Right. And so I like some of the groups that are out there. Listen, there's a lot, 1,000 ways to skin a cat. Right. You got the not fucking around crew. You seen them? They was patrolling down in Georgia. I loved them. I love the name. Not fucking around crew. I love that. And the show of force, how important that is to show that might, and to let America know that we've had enough. And we got guns too. And that's another thing that I have to say to people of color. You need to get armed up. You need to get armed up legally, of course. I got to say that, legally and lawfully. Yep. Many of you live in open carry states. You should have a cache of weapons. You live in an open carry state, have a cache. You better have one of everything. Right? Have one of everything. But I want to be clear about this, because some people don't understand the laws. Remember, when I tell you that these are sovereign states, that means you can't take your cache of weapons in your open carry state and bring it to a non-open carry state. You cannot do that. Okay? So you bring your ass from Georgia with your open carry guns and you come to New York, the minimum is 3.5. State prison. So don't come up here with that bullshit. Okay? Get your guns legally. And if you're in an open carry state, don't carry them to a non-open carry state. Okay? Please. That's not how it works. They waiting for you to do something stupid, and I want you to make sure that you are operating within the confines of the law. Okay? That's why I'm telling you this. Because I want everyone to be armed with information so you know how you can empower yourselves in these situations, right?
Yeah.
So understand that if you were to intervene and you were wrong, there could be a lot of penalties, not just criminal, but there could be civil penalties, right? Because if you hurt somebody during your trying to help or rescue this third person, that other person might have a civil claim against you for maybe assault or battery or whatever may have you, if you are wrong. If you are wrong. So it's very subjective. It's very fact specific. And cases like George Floyd, I think those are ripe for defense of others. Those are ripe for defense of others, because I can't imagine any jury convicting a person who tackled that cop off of this man's neck. Now, somebody asked me, could I have shot the cop in the head? No, you can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
No, you can't do that. You have to match, your force has to be reasonable, okay? You can't just go around shooting people in the head. I'm not advocating that. I never will. That is horrendous. It's deplorable. That's not what we're about. We've never been about that, okay? We've never been about that. We've never been that kind of people, right? And that's not what any of this is about, right? Not what this is about at all. However, we do need to stand together. And when we see one of our brothers or our sisters being killed in front of us, literally killed in front of us, we got to do something more than just film. Because there was enough people out there for one person to keep filming while a couple other people, you know, just bum rush somebody. Like, yeah. I'm sorry, I might not be able to wrestle the cop, but I could get his knee off the neck. I'm gonna get his knee off. I'm gonna get the knee off, and then he's gonna have to deal with me, right? And at least his knee is not on the neck anymore, and the man can breathe.
Wow.
I'm willing to take that charge. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to take a beat down. I'm willing to go to jail. I'm willing to, so that George Floyd could live. I'm willing to do that. Are you?
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because that's really what it comes down to. People keep talking about all of this shit about what we gonna do. What are you gonna do? Because we see what people are doing. They're just standing around. I got you. They like, I got you on video. I got you on video. What's your badge number? Let me zoom in. Meanwhile, this guy is losing breath. Meanwhile, this man who's crying for his mother, who is, you know when you're dying. You know. You know when you feel the life force. I know you know. It's an energy. When it starts to dissipate and it starts to leave this physical existence, you know.
Wow.
And he knew.
I mean, it's, you know, it is, I haven't even watched the whole tape yet. I can only do about 15 or 20 seconds because for me, it is extremely difficult to just watch another human being killed. I mean, to suffocate. I mean, there's some ways you go and it's fast.
Right.
That was, I mean, there can be no more cruelty to that. Suffocating, you know, it wasn't even like he got his neck snapped and then he died.
And he died instantly, right. You could have.
It was like a slow suffocation of this man where he's looking at, somebody did a screenshot where he looks out at the crowd and because he's like, bro, it's a wrap for me.
He said
y'all ain't gonna do nothing.
He said it. He said it. He was like, I'm done. You know what I mean? Because you know, you feel it. I'm done. And that was it. And he went out. Like, the lack of humanity, I can't wrap my mind around that.
Can't process. It's hard to process.
I can't process that. I can't. Like, I wanna, we talk about this restorative justice. I want to sit down with this cop. Please help me understand. What was you thinking for 8 whole minutes? Did you not hear that man's cries? Because a lot of police officers think that if you can say, I can't breathe, you can breathe.
Right.
They don't understand that that might be the last of the breath you can muster.
Right.
What the fuck is wrong with them? I mean, have they never been choked? Shit.
And I don't know if you have heard, but I was just watching Chris Hayes, and I was also watching somebody else, and they have gone into the background of this particular cop.
Yes, I don't know if you will see. I talked about it. He's got 18 prior complaints with IAB. And I said that, Royce, before you got on, and I said that at your job where you work. How many infractions, how many violations of the rules and regulations at your job are you permitted? Huh? You motherfucker, you can't even come to work late 2 times in a row, and you still got a goddamn job.
You can't burn 2 batches of fries at McDonald's.
At McDonald's.
Without getting written up.
See what I'm saying?
18.
18. What's the threshold at what point do we say you might not be a good cop?
You might.
So that's one cop. The Asian cop that was, you know, in the front, who I was waiting for somebody to punch in the face. That cop, he's got 5. He's got 5 prior complaints. Subject of a lawsuit in 2014 in which he stopped someone without any probable cause, slammed them to the ground, picked up their hoodie, slammed their head into the ground. They settled that suit for $25,000.
Wow.
And of course, no admission of liability, because that's what settlements do.
Right.
And so in effect, what you do is that you just wipe the slate clean for this officer, because we don't admit liability, right? We just want you to go away. And his personnel records, if they're anything like New York, they're not public. Police personnel files are not public.
Wow.
Right, they're not public, and you can't request them. You can't just say, I want to see them. You have to have a good cause before a court will grant you access to police personnel files. That's how protected they are, because there's no oversight. And here in New York, we have the Civilian Complaint Review Board, which is a bullshit oversight committee for the NYPD. All they get to do is recommend what should happen to a cop based on a civilian complaint, right? So if the cop assaults me, I file a complaint with the CCRB, that's the Civilian Complaint Review Board. They bring the cop in, they interview him, and if they find that the cop really did something and they write it up as founded, right? That this is founded, they only get to refer it back to the police department for disciplinary measures. They don't get to discipline the cop. They don't get to follow up on whatever discipline, none of that shit. That organization has no teeth. No teeth.
Wow.
All it is it is inconvenient for the cops to have to go down there. Wow. It's inconvenient, right? And they don't want to have that paperwork in their police personnel file.
Yeah. Wow.
It's bad. It's bad. It is absolutely bad.
Did you talk about old girl in Central Park yet, babe?
Yeah, let's go over to Miss Cooper, because let me shout out all my white friends today, because I put a post up today because I was like, I don't hear y'all. And I need to hear y'all. I need to hear y'all, because y'all said y'all love me. Y'all said y'all love my sons, and I need to hear from y'all. And so, well, I couldn't even put the post up before I started getting calls. Like, you better have calls, FaceTime calls, and all that. I love all of y'all. I'll tell you, Gary called me, love you, Gary, and Jordan called me, love you, Jordan. Even though they both get on my fucking nerves, I love them, right? I love them, and you know, I could say there's some fucked up shit, and they like, yo, this shit's fucked up, Ike. I'm with you. But I put that up because what she said is what I really want to talk to white people about. Her response in her apology, and we can talk about the encounter first, but I gotta hone in on this. She said, I didn't really appreciate, and I'm paraphrasing, she didn't really appreciate the situation she put this man in, because she thinks of the police as her personal protection agency. Let me just I gotta sit that right there. The police. Now, just think about that and contrast that with what you think about the police, right? How did we get so far apart that the police are your personal protection agency and they're nothing but a threat to me? How do we get here? How do we get here? So let's talk about Miss Cooper. So if you don't know, if you didn't hear, Amy Cooper, white woman and entitled and feeling herself, was in Central Park in the ramble with her dog. Her dog was unleashed. In this portion of the park, there are signs that say your dog must be leashed. Mr. Cooper, and can I say that this must be the least threatening Black person on the planet? He's a fucking bird watcher. Back up on that.
Any brother that's bird watching, he all right.
You scared of him?
Lord forgive me, but that brother, he all right.
Come on. I was the Tyrones. Y'all fucked up. Because if she's scared of this guy he's got binoculars and shit, come on, man. Come on. You know, and so her entire story is contrived. She wasn't scared. She approached him. Stop recording me. He's the one who told her, back up. Don't come close to me. Don't come close to me. At which point she then, so was he an asshole? A little bit. And I'm going to say he was an asshole a little bit because he was an asshole a little bit, but he didn't threaten her life. There's a difference between me being an asshole and me threatening your life. He said, oh, you're going to do whatever you want to do? I'll do whatever I want to do and you're not going to like it. That's not I'm going to hurt you and you're not going to like it. That's I'm not going to follow the rules too. And when everyone doesn't follow the rules, this shit is going to get real fucked up, right? We're going to have anarchy. You're not going to like it. That's not a threat. It's not even a veiled threat, right? But what he did do that I didn't like, he said he was going to give her dog some treats. Now, at this point, I know he's fucking with her. He's doing this because he knows she'll put her dog on the leash then. Because nobody wants anybody to give their dog some treats that they're not familiar with. Look, I got 2 dogs. If you give my dog some treats, we fighting. I'm telling you. Because I don't know what the fuck is in your treats that might fuck their stomach up. That might be a $2,000 bet bill. I don't got time for that. But I'm not going to call the police and say you threatened my life. That's crazy. Now, the worst part about this that I took from this was, it wasn't that she actually called, right? We could talk about the hysterics, but she threatened to call first. She threatened to call first. She said, I'm going to call the police and tell them that an African-American man is threatening my life. Yeah. So for someone like Candace Owens to come on Facebook and say this was not about race is mind-boggling, because she injected race into this. She played the race card. And she played the race card and then tried to feign ignorance about what that meant. You can't feign ignorance about what that meant. You knew. You made a terroristic threat to us. When you say I'm calling the police, that's a terroristic threat. 100%. Because when they come, they might put their knee on my neck. You stupid bitch. And then, did you see her go into the hysterics? When the 911 operator wasn't really responding, she's like, wait, well, where are you? Why? It's an African-American man. He's threatening my life, right? With the octaves and all of that shit. Think about what the 911 operator is hearing. She's not seeing. She doesn't know. She hears a hysterical white woman on the phone saying, an African-American man is threatening my life and my dog. Oh my God. Emmett Till.
Yeah. That's what somebody else posted, that was a Carolyn Bryant type of moment.
Yes. Where
she claimed fear or threat to her personhood, and that just caused events to start to occur that couldn't be turned back.
It can't be stopped. Exactly.
And so that's what that's when I saw that video, that's what scared me, because she went into an act.
Exactly.
What it was, and I want people to understand that are seeing this, that because of privilege and because of race dynamics and the way that we understand race. A racist person is not a person that will talk about race, but they will use race as an advantage over you in some type of way, a power dynamic. And that's what she did. She knew that African American and man together with a hysterical voice was a power play.
Say that, Royce.
And that power play is the same type of acculturation and socialization and understand and what we get from American culture by just being American.
Right.
If you look at TV, you watch movies, you read the books, you look at the news, you start to understand race dynamics. Right. And she understood. Nobody sat her down in the classroom and said, "Now you're a white woman now, right, so you're fragile, and you're Southern fragility, and nobody had to teach her that.
Nobody had to tell her that.
That's part of American acculturation.
Yes.
You just learn that just by being here.
Yes.
And see, people don't understand is that the only way that you're going to deprogram that is that you got to recognize is that if the researchers are saying a brother from the University of Michigan did a study, and the study said that they were looking at Los Angeles. They said that when they looked at the news, that the news disproportionately lacked representation of people of color, in particular of African Americans, as law enforcement officers, and they disproportionately show African American men as criminals. Where if, say for instance, it was 20% in real life, their interaction with the police, on the news, they showed it was 50%.
Right.
So you had this disproportionate understanding of African Americans and law enforcement, law enforcers, and African Americans as criminals.
That's exactly.
And so if you see that day in, day out, right. I saw Minister Society, I saw Boys in the Hood, yep. I saw the news, and you see that every day, that goes into you understanding race as a weapon.
Yes. And
she weaponized race to have power and that control over him, period.
And imagine her as a juror.
Oh.
Right? This is the jury pool. That's the jury pool. They're the first. She would be the first one to say, "I'm not a racist. I can be fair." When I can't. That's another thing I'm always saying. Black people, stop throwing away the jury question and get your ass on the jury.
Now check this out. There was a juror in Trayvon Martin's case.
Right.
The first one against George Zimmerman, and they allowed her transcript to be read about the things that she said. And there was no character information about Trayvon Martin in the case. But when she started to talk about why they acquitted George Zimmerman, she said, "I believe that when George said something to him, I believe that he got mad and he turned around and that he did X, Y, Z." So basically what she was doing and saying is that I have in my mind created a personhood and response that came from this African American man that made him dangerous, that made him threatening, that made him have these type of responses to authority because that's the way they are.
Right.
But the thing about it was, there was no way for her to come up with that conclusion about Trayvon because there was no information about his character in the trial. So she had looked at enough TV,
right,
watched enough news, and it constructed an idea of black male criminality in her mind. So it became a part of who it was that she was. So she could go anywhere. She could go to Walmart and get scared, right? She could be anywhere. She could be in a park with her dog and get scared. It can always come out because there is the notion that African American men in particular are frightening, they're dangerous, they're scary, they can't be trusted. That is part of the socialization process of just being an American.
Yep. Yep.
And that's why we see the George Floyd things happen, and they're going to continue to happen. We say to ourselves, why is something else happening? Because we see that is wrong. We see that this just doesn't seem right. What are we missing? And until people start saying, we got to start deconstructing these images, we have to start talking about how it is that we talk about implicit and explicit bias at the earliest age. Yes. There is no coincidence that white University of Virginia medical students say that we gave less pain medicine to Black patients because we thought that they could take the pain better.
Yeah.
Because it's this notion that you're dangerous, but you're more than human. You beastly.
Yeah.
You know, you're like a horse. You can take the pain.
You can handle it.
You can handle it.
Which also speaks to the maternal death rate.
Absolutely. Listen, that you ain't really hurt. That ain't real hurt. You haven't. I know you bleeding after that baby. I know your head spinning. You can't keep down no food. You okay. Take them Advils.
I mean, you can't breathe. You can breathe.
Right. So you have a 3 times likelihood, 3 times more Black women die postpartum than white women.
And that's on all socioeconomic backgrounds. Because look at Judge, what's her name? Glenn, I forget her name, but her, Glenn Hatchett, Judge Hatchett. Her daughter-in-law, her son's wife died in childbirth, right? And so it's not regulated just to poor Black women. It's all of us.
Yeah.
It's all of us. All of us. And you heard it from the Serena Williams, same thing. Beyonce, same thing.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how much money you have. This is the legacy that we have in this country.
Listen, if I can identify that complexion that you got come and I think you Black, I don't care if it's 1 drop or not. If you look Black, that's the treatment that you're getting. And what is more powerful for me, and this is something that I'm working on, but there's not a lot of research on it, so it looks like I might have to do it, is that you cannot tell between the explicit and the implicit.
Right.
Now, the implicit may be more dangerous than the explicit.
I would agree with that.
Because some good, meaning folk are also doing stuff that's killing people.
Right.
Like healthcare. Those healthcare disparities that you're seeing with the women and the postpartum death and people not giving you pain medicine. So if you're not giving people pain medicine, what other type of procedures are you not doing in the healthcare arena that may be causing people's death?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You might have to do that study.
That's what I'm gonna have to do. And see, the thing about it is that there is a line that connects it all.
Right.
And because the same thing, Obama and his Department of Education did a study of 85% of the public school students in the country. And they found out that African-American boys were 3 times more likely to be expelled, suspended, or written an office referral. And you'd be like, dang, boys 3 times as likely? But this is what they found, that Black girls were 6 times.
Wow.
As likely to be suspended, expelled, or written an office referral based on their white counterparts, right? And so you have this type of policing in school. And listen, here's another study. They told a preschool teacher, there's going to be some challenging behavior coming from one of these students. We got a Black boy, we got a Black girl, a white boy, a white girl. And what they did was they did some eye recognition where a camera wanted to follow the eyes of the teacher.
Right.
So first, the person that they looked at the least was the white girl. The second least was the Black girl. The third least was the white boy, and they looked at the African-American boy the most. Preschool. So that means you ain't even got to have no record. You ain't even got to be able to know your colors. You ain't even got to be able to write your name. There is a belief that I have that has been acculturated inside of me, that I have been socialized to learn that you're gonna be the troublemaker. You're gonna be the problem.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the problem, sir. Okay. And so
everything becomes self-fulfilling then? On some level, it has to be.
Here's the part that hurts my heart. It hurts my heart that the way that it manifests itself for people that are non-white, there's also a manifestation of what it does for Black folk. Right. And if you see negative images about yourself, if your mama told you was dumb all your life, you're gonna have self-esteem issues. Mm-hmm. So if you see those negative things about yourself, just like white folks see it, it may manifest itself differently, but I believe deep in my heart that it is the reason that you have some of the conflict and the law. See, there's not just a loss of Black life from some white folk. Right. I believe that there is a loss, a respect of Black life from Black folk.
From Black folks too.
I think it's a community, a hate that is in the community that comes from the acculturation and the socialization process.
Yes.
And listen, that's a deep thing. It's deep, because you can be as woke as you think you are.
Right.
But Harvard has something called the Implicit Project, where where you can check your implicit bias.
Yeah. I've seen it. I'm in on it. All kinds of different kinds of bias too, right? Not just
race, age, gender, color, height, body size.
Yeah. It's good. It's interesting. I took a couple of bias like a motherfucker.
Man, they found out that now this thing has been around about 15, 20 years, maybe even more. They said that everyone that has taken the test, 70% of them have negative bias toward African-American men. And that was across the board.
Across the board, including Black people.
Including Black people.
Because they're good at their conditioning. They're real good at it. Look how many, this is hundreds of years of conditioning. This is deep-seated, deep-rooted, embedded, right? Before you came on, I was talking about my childhood and just having watched Romper Room, and when at the end, when she puts the mirror up and goes, I see Timmy and Jay, and I'd be like, she gonna see me today. And she ain't never see Akeisha. She ain't never seen a Tisha, a Kiki, Taquana. It wasn't no Black name, bitch. To this day, when I see her, I'm gonna see her one day. I'm gonna see her. I'm looking for her ass. I wanted to, before I die, I wanted to say, I see Akeisha. I think that might heal something in me.
I'm gonna get my cell phone out and be like, oh, I need you to say you see Akeisha.
Thank you.
Say it right now.
Right. You know, when you mentioned a couple of things that made me think about Kenneth Clark in the doll study, right? But I got a different take on it, because I was talking in the beginning of this when I was talking about reparations and not being about money, and the part about when Martin Luther King talks about integrating into a burning building, and that's where we are, integrating into a burning building. And that doll study, I think, was the precipice for a lot of the movement that had back then, but I think it was incredibly flawed, right? I think the takeaway from it wasn't that children felt inferior because they were Black around whites or anything like that, and that we needed to integrate for that reason. That wasn't what it was. Everything you just said. Those are reasons why our children feel the way they feel. I wouldn't have anything to do with me integrating. This bitch didn't see me on TV. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel seen, right?
Right.
And it had nothing to do with integration. I think that was a huge mistake.
It was a flawed premise, because they are saying that the way that we fix your low self-esteem is put you next to somebody who don't see you no way.
Who don't see you. This is that.
The proximity.
I said that better. I could not.
So it's like, so you gonna put me close to somebody so I can sit on a toilet next to somebody that don't see me and don't care about me, right? And so what it was that we needed to recognize that what that said was that the acculturation and the socialization process does to that. And there's something called mindfulness. Mm-hmm. After you know that the process is in effect, that you then say to yourself when you have these feelings, Royce, now you know that this idea of you believing, I can't start this business, I can't ask for this raise, I can't apply to this college, I can't go for this job, is part of this acculturation process that has socialized to make you believe that you are less than. And so you have to be mindful to fight. It's called metacognition, to think about what you're thinking about, right? Because that what's going on in your head, it's like, and I like to use the example of the Matrix. You remember the agent, like when you plug into the Matrix, anybody can be an agent.
Right.
The problem is you can be an agent to yourself.
To yourself. Like is that like the imposter syndrome?
Oh, exactly.
It's exactly that.
You never feel like you're good enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you have to be mindful, and that you have to actually work against those imposter feelings, those feelings of not being good enough, those feelings of being inferior, because everything that we see is a part of, and it can be undone if you come from the right household that knows that those things are occurring.
And it can counter them.
And they can counter them.
You gotta counter
and y'all
them.
can sit down and watch a TV show and say, you see how, because now I do it, I watch all movies and all TV, and I'm always looking for what is the detrimental, negative stereotype or characteristic that they're going to hang on a black character.
On a black person.
Okay, and I'm looking for it every time.
Looking for it.
Right?
Yeah.
And it comes up every time, and I was like, I got you.
There
all
it
right,
is.
it's a good movie, but I see what you're trying to do.
I see where you went with that.
Yeah.
All right, let me check, because I've been ignoring the chat, and I said I was going to check some chat. Integration destroyed a beautiful and robust black school system. Agreed. Malcolm trying to tell us. Regina said, I wanted her to see me too. I wanted her to see me. I still want her to see me. And this speaks right to white people who say, I don't see color. That is the most offensive thing. If you didn't know that now, please learn that today. If you tell me as a black person you don't see color, you don't see me. Right? Because I don't stand next to you and I don't see that you're a woman. Really? You don't see that I'm a woman? Right? So, I mean, if you can see that I'm a woman, you certainly can see that I'm a black woman. Right. You don't get to do that shit.
You don't get to say what you can see and what you can't see.
You see the red light at the stop sign and all that.
Right. You
stop at the light, right? You see color, you're a fucking liar. You go on green, don't you? You see color all damn day. Get out of here. Sure. I'm telling you. Dr. Joy DeGray did a study she was talking about. I love her. I love her. We need some more Jane Elliott's. I saw one white woman on Instagram. She did a timeline, and she was talking about, you know, the irony that white people want black people to be progressive after they done had their knee on our neck, literally and figuratively, for 400 years.
Yeah. Funny enough, I spoke, me and Jane Elliott spoke at a conference together in London.
Get out of here. You see, you the man. Royce is the man. Listen, I'm telling you. First time I heard Royce, I was like, what's his name? What his name is? Let me write this down. Amazing, amazing. And I was impressed by you then, and I continue to be impressed.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I love feeding off your energy, and you're super freaking smart. And you know that's just amazing for that. I
appreciate you.
I'm
Thank you.
Smart. I'll be all right. But Natasha said, fuck that dumb bitch. She knew exactly what she was doing and deserves a hell of a lot more than she got. Right. So talking about back to Miss Cooper, she lost her job. And they
took back her dog.
They took her dog. You know how they did that? I just thought she was fucked up.
That's what you get.
She needs something to comfort herself in these times. My heart pumps Kool-Aid. You see the Kool-Aid. I'm sorry. My heart pumps Kool-Aid. And her company, Franklin Templeton, they cut ties quick. Because like you said, that black dollar means something.
Tons of money.
Money.
And nobody wants to be associated with a person like that. Roland Martin talked about a guy in Minneapolis. Last name was Austin, who was a hedge fund manager who some black guys who were renting space in a building were working at.
And he called the police on them.
Do you know that guy's partner has on his voicemail, such and such Austin is no longer related to our company. I don't think like he thinks. Bye.
Disassociate. Abort.
Right.
Yeah.
Pull the fire extinguisher, toss this guy out. You're not about to mess up my money.
I know that's right. All right, Royce, we've been going for an hour, 20 minutes.
Okay.
I'm looking to see if there are any more questions. A lot of comments. Been going on for over 100 years. It has. I mean, if you talk about, on another time we could talk about the history of the police and fugitive slave catchers, and this legacy hasn't changed, and it's gone from shackles. And you look at my logo. I ain't gonna share it now, but y'all see it on my page. My logo on the scales of justice on one side are the slave shackles, and on the other side are handcuffs. Because that's where we went from. That's where we went. That was our progress. That was the progression. And that's where we are. We still handcuffed. Handcuffed. And we got to do better than that. All right. We don't know what to do. Well, we gave you, I think we talked about some stuff here. We talked about some solutions. We talked about the law on self-defense and defense of others. I don't know what else anything else you want to add?
Yeah, let me tell them. This is some of the work that I do right now, and I think it's really, really important for me, is because knowing that within the last couple of years, probably about 3 years, the public school students are now majority children of color, and based on that Department of Education study, you get kids being suspended. So some of the work that I do is in social and emotional learning, trauma-informed practices, where I teach teachers pretty much how to build relationships with the students that they have, so that they can keep them in the classroom. That's part of the work that I do with different school districts, different school systems, or what have you. And then the other thing that I do is I work with it could be a school system, could be with a university, and we go deep into the implicit bias. We go deep into the point, and like I've done in implicit bias programs at NASA, right? And where I go in there, and you would be like, so you telling me people up in NASA snatching hijabs off people's heads? And I was like, yeah, people are tripping out. They doing some really wild stuff. And so I go to wherever, I can get the contract or whatever to go in and talk to them about how it is that they can be mindful of what they're doing and saying. And it's not just a race thing. It's gender. Let me tell you something. It is as much gender as it is race. But race, you don't see a woman necessarily being killed. Race is the thing that's most volatile because it has a historical more historical significance in our country, because people didn't bring women here to run to build the country. They brought people of a certain color because they can identify them. And so race is more powerful, but it's about race, it's about gender, it's about social economic status, it's about religion, sexual orientation. The whole gamut is all these different biases, and that stuff is illegal. Right. And so the way that I get in, I say, look, I want to save you some money. I want to decrease these EEO complaints, these HR complaints. Let me help you. You don't have to shell out all these money. And they be like, come on, bro. Come on up in here. And so that's the work that I do.
So white people, Call Royce, get him a contract into your company so he could come talk to the other white people, so that they don't think that the police are their personal protective agency, and they can understand why we don't think like that. That's
listen,
what we need.
Somebody called them on my timeline Dwight people. I said, what? People.
So wait, there's one question I gotta answer before we go.
Okay.
Somebody posted, I'm sorry I didn't get your name, but I did respond to let you know. How much more investigating do they have to do? Yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't know. We talked about that. But can Ms. Cooper be charged with false reporting? And this is interesting because Eliza Orleans is running for DA in Manhattan. And she did an op-ed piece in the Times, and it fell woefully short of what she would do as a DA in this case. She didn't say, I would charge her, none of that. She just talked about, just generic shit. And I was like, this ain't enough. This ain't enough. So in New York, false reporting or filing a police report is a crime. It is punishable by 1 year in prison. It is a Class A misdemeanor. But it has to be, it has to be a sworn statement that you're filing a false report. And you have to have notice, because on that sworn statement, it tells you that if this ain't true, you could be liable for false reporting, right? So it's probably not at the level of her just making the call. We would need more. We would need legislation. And I think we need nationwide legislation. That means every state, again, because they're all independent sovereignties, would have to enact a mirror legislation that spoke to white people falsely calling the police on Black people. And so that right at this point, I doubt Cy Vance, who is the DA in Manhattan now, I doubt he's going to bring any charges against Ms. Cooper, but it remains to be seen, because she didn't actually file a complaint. Remember, if you remember, the police showed up, but no report was taken. So, the call alone in and of itself may not be enough. Has she gone in and signed that affidavit, that would have been enough to charge her with filing a false report. Right. So I don't think it's enough at this point, but I think she's been dealt with accordingly.
I'm telling you, when you hit them pockets, you hit them pockets, that really changes people. But the thing that we have to remember is that the acculturation and the socialization is so deep that she did that without even thinking.
Not even thinking.
She just did it.
Right.
It wasn't even her conscious mind. She said, I'm in a serious situation. I know I can use race to get out of it. And it was so quick that she didn't think about no repercussions.
She reached right for it. That was the go-to.
Listen,
that's my go.
This been working.
Let me get that race card.
This been working for 200 years.
It's been working. Yes, it has.
400, all of it.
So why would you stop using it now? It inures to your benefit.
Wow.
But he can file a complaint. Tyrone said, but can't he file a complaint? He can file a civil suit against her, maybe for harassment or something like that. But it's probably more effort, and it would cost more than he would probably get in the long run. And
she ain't got no job now. She ain't got no money.
She ain't got no money. But she probably got a legacy of money. Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me see. Roy is schooling. That's right. T. Coleman. That's why I got Royce. That's why I got Royce on here. We're not gonna call him Roy. We're not gonna do that. Y'all not gonna do that to my birthday twin. From pyramids to housing projects. All 4 police involved should go to jail on the George Floyd case. So we'll see what happens with that. We're all going to be watching, and as I always tell you, manage your expectations, because you can't expect these people to give you nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And when you get nothing, you won't be disappointed because you expected nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
White woman's tears will get a Black man killed all day, every day. Yeah, that she got a house. We don't know if she got a house. We don't know what she got. We don't know what she got. And then he could get a lawyer, civil lawyers do that asset check. before they sue, right? Because I'm not about to sue your broke ass, right?
Right.
So let's do an asset check. Let's see what you got. Oh yeah.
Right. I'm not about to be exercising.
Right. I ain't got time for that. But I don't know. You have any more comments? I'm done. It's an hour and a half.
Hey, I think my last thing is just telling people what I'm working on during the pandemic. Is I do the social and emotional learning piece for the schools. And so the piece that I'm working on now is the parent tip, because I think that at least the next school year education is going to be interrupted.
Yes.
And so I'm doing online courses, and I'm teaching parents how to teach their kids at the crib. Because if they have a summer lag and your kid loses 2 or 3 months just because of the summer, what have they lost between March and the fall, when people are talking about going Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday with half e-learning? It's going to be a whole lot of balls being dropped. Right. And so my course is teaching people how to teach their kids at the crib, how to be a teacher, how to write a lesson plan, doing the social emotional learning, how to get the learning environment together, teaching aids, the whole deal. Because I got the master's in education, did the whole education piece.
Love that.
Yeah.
So black people, get with Royce. Please.
Yeah, listen, I don't know if I should say what Michael Jordan said. What Michael Jordan said about them Jordans?
What? What he said?
He said Republicans buy Jordans too.
I can't. Okay, everybody call Royce, because all of y'all kids is out of school, white and black, and none of y'all know how to put together a pedagogical lesson. All right?
There it is.
You know what I'm saying? You just don't.
There it is.
I'm gonna tell you for those of you know, I'm a college professor. We're not going to have school in the fall. Not in person. We're going to be doing online schooling. At least that's how we're starting, and I'm going to predict that's probably how we're going to finish as well. So you all should prepare. The parents that have school age kids, my son's going to be a senior in high school next year. All of us that still have kids in school, we need to prepare ourselves mentally, physically, and stock up our refrigerators now, because these kids, they home, they eat.
Don't they?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I can't
they
keep
do.
Woo, I can't. Royce, I want to thank you, my brother. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, giving me your time, your intellect, your energy. You are amazing. I love you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you too, sis.
Tell them about your book real quick, because I got it. I don't know where I put it. I was going to show it, and I was like, where is Royce's book?
Right. Oh, bingo. I got one right here.
Hey! There you go. You graduate. All right.
It's called Graduate, Moving from Failure in the Hood to Success, Commencement, and Beyond. And I basically just talk about success strategies, success principles, about things that I had to learn as an academic and as a young professional, how I had to deprogram some of the things that I learned, the acculturation that I got in the hood, right? That it taught me certain things about success, about my worth, about my value, how I had to deal with self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues, the imposter syndrome, the whole 9 yards, and what I did to deconstruct that so I can reconstruct it for success. Because success is not a secret. There are principles that if you employ them, you will get them over a certain amount of time, whether it's fast or slow. And so that's what I talk about in the book. And right now I'm actually working on some workbooks that should be out next month.
All right.
Well, so I'm just hustling.
Please keep me posted. You know, I support. I didn't read the whole book, but I did buy it. So y'all go buy it.
I'll take it.
I know that's right. Go ahead and buy it. Is it available on Amazon?
Yep, they can go on Amazon and get it.
Okay, Royce Kinnebrew, Graduate. Graduate? Is it graduate or graduate? Does it matter?
Either way. It's supposed to be a word that you can say either way. Like that you've done it, or it's just a process, that it's a noun or a verb. Okay. I'm trying to be smart. You know what I'm saying?
I got imposter syndrome. I don't want nobody to know that I'm not smart.
It's all good. All good.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on Facebook. We finally got the Zoom to go through Facebook. Hey, I'm feeling kind of special right now.
I gotta figure out how to do that myself.
Yeah, I had to look it up and have my son in here and all that craziness. And it's not that difficult, but if you do need to be walked through, because you got to change some settings here and there on Zoom to do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
All
I'm
right.
all on Facebook like, what? How do I put a link in here? It ain't even about Facebook. It's Zoom. So,
it's on Zoom? All right,
yeah.
I'm going to do that.
All right.
All right, babe.
Thank you so much, Royce. Take care. Be well. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you around.
All right.
All right, y'all. Ivy Speaks. I love you. I really do. Peace.